What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be breaking down the lighting of this shot right here. So let's hop over into the editing software to get a better look at what we're working with. So as you can see, this shot right here, Talent is just laying on the ground. We have her on top of a rug that's right up against the flooring. And the reason why we picked this spot is because it adds texture and it adds a little bit of more interest to the shot. So we have blinds coming in, we have the shadow of the blinds, and that's once again just adding texture to that shot. On the fill side, we have just a little bit of fill coming in, not too much, but just enough to kind of lift that side up and just brighten up the shadow side of her face just a hair. So let's jump into the BTS behind that. So as you can see, start off, the first thing that you want to do when you're lighting a scene, if you have the resources, is to block off as much light as you can in order for you to be able to control the light that you have, and you have full control. So we went to Walmart, bought some cheap blackout curtains. They weren't blackout curtains. They said that they were, but they weren't at all. But they did the job for what we needed to do. Completely horrendous. Would never have these in our house, but they did the job for what we needed. The other thing that you see here is a Godox SL200, and that is our main light that's going to be shooting through our fake blinds that we have. On top of that, we have a full CTO gel. That's just taking a white light and turning it into orange because we were going for this sunrise, sunset look. And so that helped us achieve that color that you would normally have during that time. The next thing that you see is over here we have a 5-in-1 diffusion thing that's super cheap. Everyone has them. I was getting some spill onto a fireplace that we have in our living room, and I wanted to block that out because it was really filling in the light and it wasn't allowing me to control it the best that I could. And so I used the black side of that to absorb that light and prevent it from doing that. I also did the same thing with this blanket. It was spilling into the room and wasn't what I wanted it to do. Got NASCAR on. So from here, as you can see, Talent's on the ground. That negative fill is just blocking that light from hitting the fireplace. And here I just have some cheap curtains that were, blinds, cheap blinds that were hung on a C-stand, and the light was shining through. I'm pretty sure that I have that light at 100%, and there's no diffusion or anything. You want hard light to shoot through that to get that texture, those shadows to appear. So I think that was at 100%. Over here I have my camera rigged up, my Z-Cam, on a C-stand to get an overhead shot. So I wanted a shot to be straight down. And in order to achieve that, I just attached my camera to the end of a C-stand arm to get that overhead shot. So over here I have a 6x6 piece of diffusion. Maybe I'll make a video about this in the future, but that is just a huge piece of diffusion to soften the light as much as you possibly can to get that roll off the face. But then also this was really just serving as ambient light. And so you want that large piece of diffusion because you want it to look natural. You don't want it looking like it's lit. And so in order to achieve that, you have to go as big as you possibly can to get that really soft look, and that's what we got here. So behind this, I have a Godox 60-watt light that's shining into a piece of bounce board and is then shining back through that big piece of diffusion. That technique is called a book light, and it just allows for a super soft light source because it's hitting a piece of diffusion 2 separate times. And so That's what that is doing. And that's once again just kind of filling in the ambient light of the room and filling in a little bit of her shadow side of her face there. So that's basically the setup. Super simple, but really effective and a really cool shot at the end of the day. So to give you a little bit more, I have this drawing that I drew up. So you have our main light right here with a full CTO shining through some blinds, giving those nice texture lines across the subject, across the floor. Negative fill on this side to prevent the light from hitting that fireplace and bouncing back onto the subject, which we didn't want. Again, negative fill on the other side with the blanket. And that's once again, that was preventing light from hitting this bounce and bouncing back onto the subject, because we didn't want that. It wasn't allowing us to control those lights. On this side, camera overhead, right here. So on this side, we have our big 6x6 piece of diffusion and a bounce board right here, and a light sitting on the ground bouncing up at that. So that's allowing that to bounce off that bounce board, go through that diffusion, and just fill up the ambient light that we have. So once again, here's the shot. And that'll wrap up this episode. Thanks for joining in. Hit that subscribe button, that like button. Let us know in the comments if you have any questions, and we'll get back with you soon. Appreciate it, guys. See ya.